Here's to every boy who thought his Bobby Orr rookie card sounded great in the spokes of his bicycle. His only served to make yours in mint condition more valuable, and now it's payday. MINTINK Trading Cards and Sports Merchandise wants to buy your vintage collection of hockey, baseball, basketball, football, and soccer heroes. Now's the time to cash in while the hobby reaches new heights. If you got 'em, we need 'em. MINTINK Trading Cards and Sports Merchandise. Visit our store online at mintink.ca.
Are they ever wrong about sports? I can answer that in 2 words. Impossible. The Naz and Wally Sports Hour on Zoomer Radio.
Good morning and welcome back to the Naz and Wally Sports Hour. We are live on AM 740 in Toronto, 96.7 FM, live streaming on the internet, www.zoomerradio.ca. We're thrilled to welcome back to the Naz and Wally Sports Hour, one of the greatest coaches of all time in sports and the NHL, of course, talking about Scotty Bowman. Good morning, Scotty. How are you this morning?
Oh, pretty good. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. Also joining us is our one of our sponsors and a sports cards expert, John Amendola. John, how are you this morning?
I'm great, guys. Good morning, and Mr. Bowman, an absolute pleasure to grace this phone call with you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Scotty, we normally get you on here to talk about NHL and hockey, but I participate in the great events that Paul Patsku and Laura Evans do on Hockey Time Machine. They did a great episode with you a few weeks back. We're actually able to watch it on video. For all our listeners, if you haven't watched Hockey Time Machine, please watch it. They had a fabulous event this week, talking with Boris Mikhailov, Alexander Yakushev, and the third one, and Vladislav Tretiak. You got to watch it. It's Thursday nights at 7 o'clock on YouTube. It's where I got the idea from, Scotty. I want to give them credit. Didn't realize you were such a great sports card collector. You've got a fabulous sports card collection. When did you start collecting cards, Scotty?
Would be early 80s, not quite 40 years ago. My wife's from Southern Illinois, and her brother's family has a boy that got us started that was in a small little town, and he was into baseball cards. So my 2 boys were just, one was about 10 years old, the other was about 8 or 7, and we visited every summer. So we visited card shops with these boys. With the other boy, he was about 15. So we started to collect baseball cards, and then that fall I got home and I said, I know some hockey players. They're always looking for rookie cards. So I think at that time, I'm not sure. It was either, you might know, I'm sure John would know. It was either Mark Messier or Ken Neely, one of those 2, I think. They was Tops and Opeachy, but you have to correct me if one was 132 players, and I think the other one was 164. Is that about right?
Usually, yeah. There was always a few extra one way or the other, and there's all kinds of different reasons. And I was listening to your chat there, and the Opeachy was always less cards and only printed in Canada.
Oh, okay. Because
that's why there's so much more value. I was hearing you talk about it in the podcast.
I think it was Mark Messier's card. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but because he had just come out of the World Hockey, and they didn't recognize him whoever his card was, and it wasn't printed in both. That was the thing. There's the odd one that slipped through. Good rookie. So
that's how we went in one and not the other, and that was a great time to start collecting, like the early '80s into the '80s. Wow.
Yeah, and then I started going for vending cases.
Okay.
So I was living in Buffalo, and I would drive over to Fort Erie. I don't know. I got hooked on it. I drive over to Fort Erie, and it was a little store, and I'd buy. It would be like 500 cards, maybe. In a vending
500
box.
Cards in a vending box. Yep.
And I think you may correct me. You'd get at least 28 or 30 of every player.
All over the place, mixed up. They're still available today. Like I come across these and what it was for the people that don't know is instead of buying a box of cards and opening packs, you would get a box of cards with cards already open and cut.
and I have those cases still.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I haven't gone through them. And like in later on years, like there was Brett Hull, some of the better players that developed. I don't know how. I haven't spent enough time lately because my boys are now married and they live. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the cards should be theirs, but they don't seem to get. They're not involved now. But I have all the cards, but I don't. I just look at them, and I got boxes of those, and then we got into the baseball, and because the baseball was what my nephew was doing. We got really into the baseball cards, and then a few basketball, not very much, and then then my boys and I we started to collect football, but that was a flop. You remember the Pro Set?
Early 90s during the junk wax era. There's still now the people chasing Belichick rookie cards in those boxes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah, he's nothing big, not big money or anything because they were so overproduced. But it's still, Bill Belichick to football is like Scotty Bowman to hockey. So it's one of those things, right?
Well, talking about Scotty Bowman to hockey, I've got to interject here, gentlemen. Scotty Bowman has a rookie card. It's a 1974 Topps Peachy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Scotty. It's a coach's card. You've got quite a few of them, Scotty. From what I understand, you've got like 300 Peachies.
Yeah, I got 300. I got 300 Peachy and about 200 Topps.
And John, what are they worth?
I don't know. They're not much.
Well, anywhere from 50 on up. A PSA 8 or 9 is going to run you 800, 900. I'm looking at them right now. If I would have known I bought one because I was like, "What? I'm going to talk about getting on here chatting with Mr. Bowman for a while. I got to have one of these." Had I known you had 500, I would have just asked you to mail me one.
Oh yeah, I brought 10 of my. I was supposed to do. Who is it? Somebody asked me. I was going to do something when the pandemic was on. There was a lady in Toronto called me. She's like a representative, and she wanted to do Zoom calls with some like business people, and she wanted to know. I guess she was going to charge them so much to have an interview, and I was going to send them a card. I brought about 10 of them down to Sarasota because I'm going home in another 2 weeks back to Buffalo. But no, I have those cards, and I didn't. I used to look at the Beckett, and I got quite a kick about maybe must be 15 years ago. I passed Don Cherry, and I used to get him. I called him. I said, Don, my car's worth $55. Yours was 50, but his was always more than mine. He had a value. I think it was around the same time because that's when he coached the Bruins. Remember?
Yeah, he wishes he had your coaching record too. But
we had fun. But no, so awesome. I didn't know that. And when kids would come around my house for when we had the Stanley Cup and friends of the family. I used to give them Pro Set boxes because my wife said get rid of some of these cards because there's so many boxes of them. But I still have some Pro Sets, so I'm glad you told me about that. But I got to get organized this summer. I'm going to spend my extra time. Is there a card show in Toronto in May or June or something?
Well, it's right now. You're a smart guy because you remember that card show in Toronto is still one of the biggest on the continent. But with the pandemic right now, everything has been postponed or canceled. But there's a lot you can do, and virtually, if you ever get organized, that's a great conversation we could have. I heard you talking about Sandy Koufax cards, and you made a comment. I had a laugh, Scotty. You said, I got a few Michael Jordans.
I got Michael Jordan and Gretzky, Lemieux, and
you got Magic. You got the.
I got a good basketball card. I think I'm not sure. It's got the 3 of them on it.
Yeah, that's about 100,000 PSA 10 right now.
Oh my goodness! Well, I have to get some of these graded because
we can definitely help you with that.
I didn't know how you do it because they told me that you have to send them to California. This is a couple of years ago, and I didn't want to take a chance on sending a card. What happens if it's lost?
Well, this is the common thing, but there's like insurance and everything else. In this day, really, the postal system has come, but. This may convince you. The PSA 9 of the Bird Magic card sold. The last one sold for $82,000. And your Sandy Koufax, which is beautiful. Now you're going back to the 50s. A PSA 8 is going to get anywhere from about $20,000 to $30,000. A couple of them hit as high as $50,000.
Oh my goodness!
Same thing when you get into. You made a comment there about, and it's true. You started collecting in the early '80s, and especially hockey. And hockey's a sport that's actually seeing some big lift right now. But think about some of those names you mentioned in the '80s. Like you're talking about a couple of dozen Hall of Famers and that entered the league over just a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's an unbelievable time, and the rarity and the scarcity of a lot of those cards, especially if they're in good condition, especially the O-Pee-Chee cards, because they were only really available or printed anyway, Ontario and Quebec, so they would really be an East Coast thing until later in the 80s, production. There's a ton of value. I was reading something yesterday. Barry Bonds 87 Topps is a very common card. The O-Pee-Chee version of that card, now baseball O-Pee-Chee, even more of a short print, is absolutely exploding right now because that's what people are after today, Scotty. It's the rarity, and then if you can get this vintage stuff in good condition, forget it. It's the modern art of today.
What about the my brother, my late brother, lived in London, Ontario, and he used to bring me over those full sheets. They'd be players about 85, 86. The uncut sheets.
Yeah, uncut sheets. And some of those are big. Again, same thing. You'll see the odd time a sheet will come and you'll be staring in the middle of the sheet and it's the Gretzky rookie. Like, there are some collectors out there.
I got uncut sheets.
Yeah,
Scotty,
people.
Yeah, John, Scotty, I got an idea for a great new show on Zoomer Radio. We'll call it the John and Scotty Show. We'll talk sports cards. It's a fabulously interesting conversation, guys. I'm like a kid in a candy store listening to you guys.
Scotty, you're in Buffalo. Wally, the largest card store in the world, Dave and Adams, is 2 hours down the road. Maybe when this is all over, that's where we'll have to go.
We got to make the pilgrimage.
Yeah,
I want to get Naz involved. Naz, I'm sure you've got a question for Scotty or something that's on your mind. Naz?
Well, Scotty, you didn't mention you had 2 Bobby Orr cards. I wonder what those are worth.
One looks pretty good. One was rated. I don't know how I got it, but there's one was in the 70s, but one says there's a thing at the top. I think it said it's a 7, but it doesn't say. Yeah,
let's put the grandkids in school, Scotty.
Well, I kept all those cards, so I got 2 Bobby and one Nolan Ryan card. I think his was pretty.
I can only imagine the cards you have, sir. I would be willing to get a vaccine and a microchip to come see you if that's what it takes.
John,
well, I gotta keep in touch with you guys because when I get back settled and if this thing. But the border's still closed. But when the border opens, that's going to be my project.
We'll make it happen. We'd love to help you out.
Okay.
John, let me ask you a question. Scotty raised on the hockey time machine that I was referencing. Is in the old days they used to say if you put the player's autograph on the card, it devalued the card. And
that's a good
correct.
I know, Scotty, you raised that question, John. In today's world.
Yeah.
If you get the actual player to sign the card, does that increase the value of the card, decrease it? And if it increases it or decreases it, by how much?
It's hard to really place an amount on it. Basically, the days of that super fan or just being a hardcore fan and wanting that card signed by your childhood hero is from a nostalgia point of view, from a collectible point of view, is still sort of the thing. We do a lot with Carlo Koliakovo, and we have people every week that want cards signed. However, in the game, and from a monetary point of view, the autographs that are worth the big money are now autographs that are verified by the manufacturer and now numbered. So you heard about this Luka Doncic card that sells for $4 million. Well, there's only one of them, and it has a piece of his jersey from a big game and his authentic autograph. So it's all about the authentication, and it's all about the numbering and the limiting of these cards and the print runs with the autos and the patches.
Oh, I got a comment on that because I want to tell you, Sandy Koufax is still living, and Sandy Koufax does not sign. like this is what I was told by, I don't know him at all, I never met him, but his best friend growing up with the Dodgers was not a great player, but they're still very close. They play golf together. He rents in our building, and I got to know him a lot. His name is Dick Trzaskowski. He is a coach with Sparky Anderson. He was a coach with the Tigers in '84 when they won the World Series with the World Series. Not the Tigers. He's been with Sparky with the Tigers, and one of his best friends is Sandy Koufax, and because he tells me Sandy doesn't sign anything. Like he will not. You won't find it. It's hard to get anything signed. But he said, if you want to get him to sign it, he said, I'm sure he'd do it for me. But I never.
So stuff like that, you actually now we're going back vintage. Absolutely, that's a different. And if you got a guy now, you wouldn't get your rookie card signed. But if you had a card signed, you would still send that away, and the grading companies would actually authenticate the auto. So you see a lot of fraud. Let's say, for example, with Gretzky's autograph.
You have to get a picture taken with
or like I said, Scotty, just like the condition of the card. There's like they'll do their handwriting analysis, and they will actually say yes. So you got a Honus Wagner auto back from the 20s, and you send it into these companies, and you'll get it back in a slab. Forget about they won't grade the condition. They'll just grade saying yes, this is an authentic autograph.
Yeah.
John, let me ask you this question, because I'm sure a lot of collectors with valuable cards. It doesn't take much nowadays if you've been collecting cards since the 50s, 60s, or whatever, to have a card that's worth $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, and they don't have to be mints to be worth that kind of dough. You got to get these things graded. As a collector, and I know Scotty raised this concern as well, I'd be concerned putting a $50,000 card or $100,000 card and sending it out of my possession to get graded.
Yeah.
Is that a concern at all?
So, I mean, everybody, it's a very common question, but at the end of the day, we did a Lionel Messi rookie card for a client a couple of weeks ago, and he was very much concerned. This is a $30,000 card, and it's insured, and you're using Federal Express, and at the end of the day, all I can say is millions of cards are transacting, $1 million cards are moving around. Now, you can get on a plane and go and walk right through the place. You can pay for a same day. So a guy like Scotty with the cards like that, I mean, yeah, Scotty, we're just going to jump on a plane one day, me and you, with a briefcase, and we're going to go have a nice day in LA. But it's one of those things. I mean, you got to just trust. You got to trust the process, and that's what insurance is for. And really, from a value point of view, you're looking at way too much money to not take the chance in a lot of these cases. Like,
John, I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt. I apologize.
Okay.
Scotty's is on a quick. We've got to let him go. He's got other things to get to, and we want to respect that. Scotty, before I let you go, I just got to ask you this. We've now lost Bob Plager, and there's the Plager brothers are no longer around. You were such a big part of the St. Louis Blues. There was one incident or episode that I got to ask you about. On March 1st, 1969, you put out all three Plager brothers all in the same line on the forward line in a game against the Montreal Canadiens with Al Arbor and Doug Harvey on defense. How'd you come to the idea you wanted to put all three Plager brothers out at the same time?
I think it was in Montreal too.
That's correct. Yes.
But no, Billy was a right-hand shot. He only had a couple hundred games in the league, but Barkley, I liked to carry the puck, so I put him at center, and Bob I put on left wing. And I don't know the reason why I did it, because it was more for nostalgia, I think. But the three of them that's the first time they would never play together, because they're all defensemen, and we did have them on the team at the same time, but we never played. Bob very seldom played with Barkley, because Barkley played with Al Arbor, and Al was training him as a really good hockey player. Al was a solid defenseman, and Bob Plager played with Noel Picard, and we had probably as tough a defense as you ever had in the league, and especially the two Plagers, they just wanted to fight all the time. But they even fought in junior, as you know that. But they fought. Bob played in golf, and Barkley played for me in Peterborough, and they had a fight in Peterborough one night in the game. And Bob was 16, and Barkley was 18. And I used to go to there was a snack bar right beside the Pete's Arena, and that's the players used to congregate, especially ones that had known each other. And I went in there after the game, and would you believe they're sitting together, both of them eating a hamburger. And I just went over to them, because I used to kid them all the time. And I said, I know you guys, you staged that fight, you know. And they did not, though. But, yeah, it was a tragic loss for people in St. Louis and the family, and he was a wonderful man. He was a true St. Louis Blue, you know, stayed there from the time we drafted him in '67, never left St. Louis, you know, and one of the few players that ever did that, you know.
Anyways, John, we want to let you go. Thank you for joining us, Scotty.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We'd love to chat for a lot longer, but we want to respect.
Can you send me an email again? In case I will. Because I wanted to get a hold of John later on. If you could put his,
I'd absolutely love it.
I'm always available, Scotty. An absolute honor to spend the last 20 minutes with you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks, John. Bye.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.